The secret of yoga is love. And Sri Krishna in the Gita tells us, to those who are attracted only to me and who worship me with love, I give them that discernment of wisdom by which they attain me completely. Out of pure compassion, I, the Divine One, who dwells in all, set alight in their hearts the blazing lamp of wisdom, which banishes their darkness of ignorance. Krishna tells us about worship and devotion. And Yogananda ji also seems to relentlessly hammer away at the same theme of love and devotion. Get devotion, he said. Look at how dry your life is when you depend on intellect alone. And all of this seemingly flowery language of devotion and love and joy, it seems like it doesn't fit into the harsh challenges of our daily lives. At any given moment we might say, I don't feel the love. I don't feel devotion. And in the back of our mind may linger the thought, well, I want to improve, but maybe there's an easier way. Maybe the guru will just give me Shaktipat. Or maybe there's a new easy meditation technique. Or a miracle health food. Some quick and instant way to improve myself. Or maybe we tell ourselves that, being devotional is just not our nature. But Yogananda ji defines self-realization as the knowing in body, mind, and soul that we are now in the possession of the kingdom of God. And we are now in possession of that infinite love and devotion that perhaps in every moment we don't feel. It's like as if it's just under the surface, available to us. And maybe that devotion is expressed in singing bhajans, but maybe that love and devotion is expressed in many other ways too that would behoove us to look at. A parent might be physically affectionate and cuddly with their child, and another parent might be much more impersonal, expressing just as much love, but maybe through example, or through providing for the family, or through having meaningful interactions with the child. It's the same love. Yogananda ji was very affectionate by nature. His guru was very austere. When Sri Yukteswar met Yogananda ji, he said, I will give you my unconditional love. And that was the last time that Yogananda ji heard him express love. Only at the end of Sri Yukteswar's life did he do so again, and only after Yogananda ji begged him to do so. And yet every moment Sri Yukteswar expressed his devotion to his disciple by his precise and meticulous training of his disciple. And so we may have a narrow perspective of what devotion is. Dedication, commitment, devotion can be to our loved ones. It can be to a high ideal. It can be to truth. And finally, it can be the ultimate surrender of the soul towards moksha. And it starts with a simple desire to be happy, a willingness to say yes to life, enthusiasm, energy, zeal. These are all aspects of devotion. A longing, a hunger, a desire to change if it's going to make us ultimately happier. When I was 20 years old, I was sick in bed for some time and had the opportunity for the first time in my life to introspect. And I wanted to be happy. I could see the direction my life was going in was not going to make me happy. I had heard about meditation, about yoga, about vegetarian diet, and I was willing. I was ready to change. And I just dove into all of them because I had that readiness. Swami Kriyananda was asked once, why are there not more people on the spiritual path? And he said rather bluntly, they haven't yet suffered enough. They aren't looking. They aren't ready. My father, the last 10 years of his life, could be called a functioning alcoholic. And he was functioning only up till the point when he could not function any longer. And then losing his job, losing his family, losing his self-esteem, only then could he face the fact that he had a disease, that he needed help, and that he was willing to try. That moment had come, and he succeeded. That's a very extreme example. But for the rest of us, finding that dedication, that devotion, may start with introspection. In our next meditation, we could bring with us a pen and paper, and after meditation, write down, what are my highest goals? And what are my short-term goals? And what are the steps I can take to get there? And then meditate on that again, refine it even more. Swami Kriyananda said, many students think that by their willpower alone they will attain cosmic consciousness. The secret of effective yoga practice is deep love, steadily becoming more open to divine grace through deep, humble love for God. The goal of yoga is to deepen one's receptivity by stilling the body, the mind, and emotions, to become aware of that movement of divine grace within. Thank you.
Guru Paramhansa Yogananda said that Kriya Yoga is not Kriya without devotion. And we hear again and again in these wonderful words from the Bible, be still and know that I am God. Be still. And sometimes we think, well, that's all I need is to be still. And I actually am successful in getting still. But it isn't the only thing that's needed. in that stillness, we need to be able to perceive our infinite reality. We need to be able to expand our awareness into divine love, into divine light, into infinite peace and calmness, into the vibration of Om. So we need that. We need to attract that grace, that divine love that allows our awareness to expand. We need to get still, and we need to invite that power, that grace, that love to help us become aware of our true reality. So there is a key to the spiritual path, a master key that opens all the doorways of the spiritual path. And what is that key? What is that key? That key is the power of God's love for all of us that continually draws us back to Him. God is constantly calling us back to oneness with Him. And that yoga that we're all seeking, that union with God that we're all seeking, is a union of love. It's a union of love. And our Guru tells us that the spiritual path is 25% our effort, 25% the effort of the Guru's grace, and 50% the grace of God. He tells us that that 25% of ours needs to be 100% of our willingness, of our discipline, of our willpower, of our longing for that union, for that yoga of love. But once we have our 25% there, we need to receive the grace that's flowing to us, that 75% that's always flowing to us. And we receive, as it said in the Bible, as we quote here many times, those who received the grace of the Guru, those who received the power, the attunement of the Guru, gave them the power to become the sons of God, sons and daughters of God. So we need to be in that receptive flow. As people ask Swami, how were you able to write 400 books, 400 pieces of music, 150 books, start these communities, start these schools? How is it possible? He said, I was in the flow. He gave his 25% and 75% for his whole life. Just kept flowing to him. And he told us again and again, you do this. You get into the flow and you will also receive all of this. So the quote that Keshava read from the Gita is that Krishna tells us, love me, and I will give you the discernment. I will give you the discernment and light that lamp of wisdom in your heart that will banish darkness. So what is that discernment? That discernment, more and more, is just making better decisions, making better choices. I think it's one of the biggest changes that I had in my spiritual life as I just started making better decisions. And that started once I began meditation and walking the path. So as our love for God increases, as our longing for that happiness that we're all seeking, and really our version, our definition of what that happiness is changes as our soul evolves. But as we seek that love, as we seek that bliss, as we seek that peace that our soul is always longing for, those desires become stronger than our desire for lesser things. And therefore, that is that discernment that allows us to put our love for God ahead of our little selfish desires. And when we think of just even serving here, we start to give selflessly, or we give selflessly to our children or to our parents. The more we think of others before we think of ourselves, already that is purifying our heart. And in the Bible it says, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. So we may think, my heart's not that pure, so my chances of seeing God are a little bit slight. But we are purifying it with every breath we take. How shall I love thee? How shall I seek thee? Just keep seeking him, keep serving him, keep worshiping him, because it purifies our heart. And the more our hearts are purified, these tendencies, these habits that we're born with, these subconscious things that just keep wanting to pull us down off the path, that want to just make us go subconscious, make us escape, make us choose wrongly of the things I will do today, or the things I'll do this week, or the people that I want to be with, or the places I want to go. You know, these things, they're just set from our subconscious. But the more we offer our love and purify our hearts, the more God can guide us with his discernment, and we can start making better choices. And again, we may think our devotion is lukewarm. I know mine, I tend to think of myself not as a devotional person. And I see people in this room who I know have very, very strong devotion. And I always wish I had their devotion. But even wanting to want to love God is devotion. You know, Krishna says, just offer me a leaf. Offer me just a leaf or a flower, and I will come and receive it. So if I can just bow my head in prayer before meditation, if I can just think of him, if I can just chant, if I can do anything to try to open my heart, he will receive it. And it might just be that little spark that lights the fire of our devotion, that lights the fire that burns away the other desires. And then that is just a first step of our ever-awakening awareness of our infinite reality. So when we think of loving another, we think of communing with them, of being close with them, and we just want to, when we really love somebody and we're really connected to them, we want to receive their essence. We are receiving their essence. If we're communing with somebody in love, we're receiving their essence. We're receiving their qualities. So if we can do this with our God-realized masters, commune with them in meditation and in prayer and in love, they can give us their magnetic qualities of being free from ego, free from these subconscious desires, and also their magnetic quality of perfect love for God. Perfect love for God. And so they can help us light that flame of devotion. You know, light that flame of devotion in our hearts. And when that devotion starts to awaken, we want to keep it strong. We want to guard it, just like a candle in the wind. We don't want the wind of our restlessness to be blowing out that maybe small diya of devotion that we have lit in our heart. So we want to keep it strong with everything that we learn on the path. In our satsang, in our sadhana, in our seva, in our spiritual reading, in our introspection. We have to keep our attention strong on the goal. Keshava said, just look at your goals. You know, look at the direction of where the gurus are leading us, but also where our true happiness lies. By now, most of us have understood what is fleeting happiness and what is lasting happiness. And we all want to be making the decisions that will bring us closer and closer to our lasting happiness. So keeping that flame, that even if it's just a little teeny flame of a diya, keep it lit and keep it strong. Because that love that we feel for God. Swami has a song. It says, "What is love? Is it only ours?" And then he said, "Surely we, children of this world, cannot think that we love by our own powers. Our power to love God is God's. Any experience we have of love for God is from God. Recently, we were in Varanasi, and we were on a boat in the Ganga, and it was sunrise, and beautiful golden orb was rising, and the chant we were chanting is, "Thousands of suns and moons from thy body do shine." And I was looking at this sun, and just thousands of suns, thousands of moons. How many suns and moons have been in this day of Brahma? And suddenly, listening to our master's chant, attuning to his vibration through that chant, seeing the sunrise, my heart just opened, which you may think differently, but actually it doesn't open that easily. I'm trying. But it opened, and I just felt God's love so much. And I just had a devotional moment. The sun, the Ganga, Divine Mother, me, I just was having this moment, and I just kind of thought, finally, there's a love for Divine Mother. Here it is, I can offer it to her. But what was it? It was Divine Mother's love for me that gave me that experience. So we think that we're loving Divine Mother, and actually it's her loving me. It's all the same. Our love for God, God's love for us is one. And therefore, we want to keep that love strong, pay attention to it, grow it. Anything we can do should be our top priority, because God's greatest gift that He can give us is our love for Him. God bless you.